like waking up to see the break of dawn. Climb into my pickup truck and I'll be gone on down to my favorite fishing hole with a little line. I can't think of a better way. That's my time. Sign in the window says gone, 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 gone fishing. I left all my worries far behind. Gone, 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 gone fishing, yeah. A dream about a lunker dancing on my line. Ow! That's what we're talking about. I'm hooked. How about you? Hooked on bass. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Jimmy Houston. I'd like to welcome you to Hooked on Bass, one of the most entertaining and innovative instructional tools ever offered to bass fishermen. You'll soon be involved in a total tournament experience, faced with most of the decision-making problems a tournament bass fisherman is confronted with. And when you're done, I'll guarantee you'll be a better bass fisherman. We've got a somewhat beautiful day out here, so let's get this tournament underway. Good luck, and here's a little tip. In muddy or murky water, use a darker colored lure. When you're bass fishing, you're making decisions. You know, it's a thinking man's game all the time. You're making decisions on what lures to fish and what color and how deep and when to jerk. Look at that. When to jerk. When do you set the hook when you're plastic worm fishing? Well, when you get a bite. Oh, look at that fish. Yeah. You think that's not a chunk? If you miss a fish on a topwater bait, always have a plastic worm, or even better yet, a little gets it, and throw it back in there just as quickly as you can. Most of the time, you'll catch that fish, and he's yours.
That's a good fish. Can't go back after that rascal. A lot of times you can go back after a fish like that one, just miss that bait, and flip a worm. And right after, if you're pretty quick, a lot of times that fish will come back and grab that bait, and you can salvage something out of the deal.
The key place to fish in the wintertime is as close as you can to the main river channels and the main creek channels. I like areas that have fairly steep drops. Forget about the flats, forget about the sloping areas. The steeper the drop, it seems like the more fish will load up there for wintertime fishing. Remember, they don't eat much, fish very, very slowly. Come out of there, little feller. Golly, what a wild fish. Whew. He ain't big, but he is wild. What did he do with my worm? He throwed my worm away. Well, you sucker. I like to catch about 2 on a worm. That's not a bad little old fish. Spinnerbaits, probably my favorite lure. I imagine 60% of all the fish I catch in a year's time on a spinnerbait. And you can catch fish on them just honestly anywhere, anytime of the year, in any depth of water. Yeah, there he is, right out from under that laying down log. That's the whole deal to it. They like to lay under those logs. That's a nice fish. Nice bass. Yeah. Boy, they like to get under this Ranger boat. They like that. Come here, baby, you're caught. One of those laying down logs, and multiple casts, 3 or 4 casts to get him, but what a pretty fish. Boy, oh boy, do plastic worms come in every shape, size, color, length, diameter, you name it, they got it. They probably, if I showed you all my plastic worm boxes, I'd need a bigger Ranger boat. But I tell you what, these are one of the most dynamite fish catching baits there is. Come out of there, baby. Come up here a while, man. You through? He says no. You see him shake his head? Oh, it's a little heavy to be lifting in like that. Right down in the middle of them reeds. I kind of thought he might be a pretty good one. Crankbaits are perhaps the easiest bait of all to catch bass on. One of the things that makes it so easy is you really don't have to know anything to be able to catch fish on them. They call them idiot baits because they say any idiot can catch a fish on them. All you have to do is just throw them out there and wind them back in.
Oh, I hate it when that happens.
Every hook you fish with must be sharpened, especially on crankbaits. That could be the difference in winning and losing this tournament.
Woo, looky here, looky here, looky here, yeah. Golly, where's my hot spot? You think he didn't swallow that thing? Down in his throat. Come here now. Come here, come here. God, I don't know how I'm gonna... Oh, he ain't through yet. How am I gonna get a hold of fish without getting a hot spot in my hands? Ah, just like that.
Absolutely, the most effective way to fish a crankbait is with a stop and go technique. And I like to change speeds. I wind it slow, stop, fast, stop. Make that thing erratic. It's that difference that causes that fish to bite. There he is. Fooled you, didn't I?
Sorry about that. Lost your lure for you.
And then what they call the minnow baits or the stick baits, like a Rebel minnow, or this particular one is a Cordell redfin. All of these baits you'd categorize under topwater baits. Now, I like to use the minnow type baits under quieter type conditions. In other words, relatively calm type water. This type bait is one that you'll work and really finesse a lot and not make much noise with.
Nice bass. That's a nice bass right there now. I'm gonna tell you if I can hold him out of the brush. That's all right, I'll get him. I think. Yeah, boy, he just barely hung, isn't he? Probably ought to dip net him, but I'm gonna just try to get a hold of him. Try to get him to open his mouth. Whoa! I'm gonna lose him is what I'm gonna do. God, I had him and he tore loose. Oh, I tell you what, he was hooked pretty good. He didn't look like he was hooked good.
I break spawning down into 4 seasons, not 3. Most people think pre-spawn, spawn, and post-spawn. I add a pre-spawn situation into it because this is the time of the year you can really catch a lot of fish. The pre-spawn is when the fish are moving into the areas that they're going to spawn in. Now, generally, you'll find those fish in the first 50% of the coves and the pockets as they begin to move back down into these areas. In other words, from the main lake back in about halfway. This is where you want to look for the pre-spawn fish. Best baits to get them is usually spinner baits, crank baits, jigs. That's your best top 3 baits to get them. I saw him, about a 2-pounder. Got him. Boy, he's boiling on them minnows. I saw him out there taking after him minnows, and I threw that spinnerbait out there. Another place fish like to go after they spawn is they'll go out to the nearest deep water that they can find, still back in the spawning area. Generally, that's the edge of creek channels. Obviously, what will eventually happen to those fish after they spawn is they're going to move back out toward the main part of the lake. Now you begin to start looking for those fish in those pre-spawned areas. That's where the post-spawn fish are going to be. Get the web! Ah, look at that one! Get the net, sports fans. Look at that and boil on top of the water, will you? Come here, baby. Turn my trolling motor off and help. Did you see that fish grab a hold of that thing? Ah, yes, sir. Remember, don't overwork that plastic worm today. That's the most common mistake made by fishermen, is overworking that plastic worm. Get your rod tip up high, and all you need to do is move your rod tip just a few inches at a time. Don't be doing any of this dropping down and making these big long sweeps like that, because that old bait is going to go right over that fish's head, and you're not going to win. Come here, little fella. Here. Yeah, that fish can fly. He swims good too, don't he? Yeah, come here, baby. Well, he got that worm down deep now. I'm telling you, he wanted it. Come here, sugar. Yeah.
Ooh, baby. Come on, baby. Baby. Oh. Hey.
Another excellent jig combination is actually a rubber skirted jig like you might use on a spinnerbait. And now this has got a little dry rind trailer on the back of it that's shaped like a crawdad. This again has got just a little bit, one little strand of fiber there to keep you from getting hung up so bad on it. This is another good jig combination.
Things are sure tough here, but I'm going to take you down to Stone Bluff, catch you one on a jig. few more of those, we'll be in some good shape here.
One of the key things to look for in reading a strange lake is something that is different than the norm. In other words, whatever the fewest is, that seems like that's what the bass will get on. Lots of bushes, not many rocks, count on the rocks. Lots of rocks, not many bushes, count on the bushes.
Golly. Oh, man. Look at that thing go. Right off the end of that brush pile there. Boy, they are loving that worm.
Remember that when a bass bites a plastic worm, he does not start at the tail and work up. He grabs the head of it. So when you feel a strike, set that hook or you'll be a loser for sure.
Come here, sugar. Yeah. Come up here now, baby. Get on up here. The famous Jimmy Houston quick release. You notice I got all the fight out of that fish and then just turned him loose?
Hey, partner. The old professional bass fisherman, Bill Bass, right back with you. Tell you what, things are a little slow, so I'm gonna check the pH meter around here so we can get on them fish. Now, another thing, you amateurs shouldn't be messing with stuff like this. I'm a professional bass fisherman, and I know about these things. We'll just add a little juice to this puppy here. Whoa, wowzer! Woo! God, I hate it when that happens. Don't mess with electronics, things you don't know nothing about. Now, we're professional bass fishermen. God, I hate it when that happens. I'll tell you what, Danny's right over there. Why don't we just go and see what he's up to today?
That's better fish. That's good fish, matter of fact. Yeah, come to Daddy. This is the one you're looking for right here. There you go. That don't work. Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do. Why don't you pack up your things and let's make a run down to a cove right above Flags Point and just see what we can do down there. Here, Betty. Come, Papa. Come on, come on. Come on. Come on. Come here, come here, come here, come here. Come here. There we go.
If you're fishing a jig that's got a fiber guard on it, here's something that'll help you. Flare this fiber out here on the front of it. Now they're all bunched up when you take them out of the package. Flare it out. This gives you a wider area here, which displaces the weight, allows the fish when he bites to mash down on a little bit easier. Going to cause you to hook a lot more fish, and it also makes it a little bit more weedless.
That's good fish. Come on, I'll let you stay down there all day. There's the one we've been wanting. That could make a big difference at the end of the day right there.
When you fish in stained water, you might want to go with a little bit noisier baits. So in other words, if you're going to use a crankbait, make sure you use crankbaits that rattle a lot, like a rattling hot spot. Spinner baits that have big blades vibrate, cause more rattling, more vibration. Plastic worms, try putting a bead in between your worm and your slip sinker. Make some noise in that muddy water. It'll catch you more fish.
Here he comes. Golly. He come from straight behind it. You know, we might need to throw back in those weeds a little bit more. For some reason, they might be up a little shallow.
One of the key things in becoming a really good topwater fisherman is to realize and learn that you don't set the hook when the fish blows up on it. Wait until you actually feel that fish strike that lure and then jerk. Sometimes you'll get 3 or 4 bites before he actually gets that bait. So don't jerk on the explosion, jerk when you feel the fish on there.
Got him that time. Come on, baby. Better fish than what we've been catching all morning, I think. Can't tell. Well, I got lucky and that fish came back after the bait. I got my wish. Just came on back. That'll make it right there.
When I see rocks, I think of crawdads because just about anywhere there's rocks, there's crawdads. So when you get around rocks, one of the first baits you ought to pull out of your tackle box is a crawdad crankbait.
A lot of times you can take the crawdad crankbait when you got these rockier type areas and pick up a few good fish. I don't know if it's going to work today or not, but anytime there's rocks of chunk rocks like this right here, you can always count on a pretty good crawdad population being around. Therefore, usually bass not being too far behind them.
Good rule of thumb, use as light a slip sinker as you can possibly get away with.
Golly, that was a little stronger there. Pretty nice little fish. Wow. Oh my, come here, baby. Here. Get in this boat with me. Oh, another one dead center. Look at that, Dan.
The key thing to remember in the summertime is concentrate on the main body of the lake. You can still fish shallow, but concentrate on the main body of the lake.
It's a good one there. That is a better fish, I think. I might be wrong, but look at him go. Walk through right up there at that little corner of that little reed. It's so shallow up here. Oh yeah, look at that fish. That's a better one there. Yes, sir. Come here, you are caught now.
You know, clear water doesn't always mean just fishing deep like a lot of people think. Sometimes clear water means just getting back and making longer casts and fishing a little bit slower and a little bit more diligently. And remember, the sun can be your advantage. Position your boat where as the fish looks back toward your boat, he's looking at the sun. He won't have any idea that you're there.
Wow, he feels, oh, looky there. That's a good one. Oh man, look at that fish go. Look at him go. Look at that. Look at that. That's a big old fish. Golly, what a way to start the day. Oh, looky there. Oh, mercy. Doing a little worm fishing today.
Tournament situations, I use a trailer hook 100% of the time. I mean, all the time. Now, sometimes you might get hung up a little bit, but you add this trailer hook back here, I guarantee you it'll make a difference when that tournament's over.
One come up and got that thing. He's not a monster, but he's not bad. Come over here, baby. Come up and got that old blade, didn't he? Yeah. Oh, sugar booger. That's one of them old stocky ones right there, too. That's the kind I like. Yeah. That's one of them gonna grow up to be a real big one, isn't it? This is what I like. See how broad he is right there? Look at that. Yeah, pretty fish. 17 inches. And he weighs 3.8.
Tell you what, this fish hunt's gonna continue. Why don't you all come with me to my little honey hole? It's called the Hump. We'll go catch us a hog, okay?
Generally speaking, the slower you can move a buzzbait across the top of the water, the better off you are.
That's a pretty good fish. Yeah. He ain't giant, but
the chugger type bait, I like to use that when you've got a chop on the water and you're really wanting to make a lot of noise and draw fish a little bit further to your bait.
There he is, there he is. Pretty fish. Jump out of the lake. That clear water makes them prettier too. I love them in clear water. Yeah. Come here, sugar booger. Settle in. Boy, he got them all. No place to get my thumb in there very well. Ow!
Probably one of the most effective crankbaits is not a crankbait at all, but what I call a pull bait, because all you do is throw it out there and pull it back in. Baits like a hot spot or this particular one right here, a rattle spot. The key thing to remember in this kind of bait is you cannot fish it too fast. I don't care how fast you crank.
Oh, there he is. Come here, baby. Oh, yeah. Come here, sugar booger. Well, he had just barely caught. I mean, just barely. Knock that hot spot against the side of the boat. Just right. Should have lifted him in, I suppose. That's a nice little fish right there.
The very best knot you can tie is what I call a Jimmy Houston knot. This is a knot I developed several years ago. Double your line, run the double line through the eye of the hook. Now you've got a double line here, run through the eye of the hook. The line is laying on the index finger of your left hand. Now come over here and lay the other line over the index finger of your left hand, and then just simply wrap those two double lines 4 times. 3, 4. Then run the end of the line back through that loop. Now you've got double lines here. You want to cinch this down, wet your line to keep it from burning, and cinch it down slow and easy. Don't make a real fast jerk on it or anything. Tighten each thing down independently, and this is what you should end up with here. You got the tag end of the line, and then you got this little loop. Take your cutters. You can cut them all off one fell swoop. Now that's a Jimmy Houston knot. It's a perfect knot to tie on spinner baits, on worm hooks, on crankbaits if you've got a split ring on it, and I guarantee you the line will break before the knot. A pure 100% knot, and that's what it takes to win this tournament.
Golly, holy smokes. God, look at that sucker. They think they're tarpon. Look at them go. Holy mackerel. Look at that, will you? Look at that fish go. God, I need to retie my line. Only got 12-pound green trilene on here. Come here, baby. Don't you spit that hook out. Don't you dare. Holy mackerel.
When I'm fishing a jig or a spinnerbait, I will always take my pliers and open this hook up just a little bit, where the point of the hook is not really going out straight out, but it's actually pointed up slightly. That'll allow you to hook your fish a lot better, and you won't lose very many of them.
Come here, little rascal.
Bass fishing seems to be getting a lot better in the country, and one of the reasons is a lot of the fishermen are putting those fish back. I believe that if we all followed one little rule of thumb, let the fish have at least one opportunity to spawn before we keep them.
There he was. Got me in them stumps. Broke me right off. That was the only one we had, too. Guess we'll have to find something else for him to bite.
There's 4 or 5 key things on any strange body of water to take into consideration. The type of lake that you're fishing, the time of the year that you're fishing, what type of weather conditions you're on at any given time, what the water is doing. Is it raising? Is it lowering? Is it getting warmer? Is it getting colder? Those are the things to take into consideration to figure out where to fish. Eliminate the bad spots before you ever go on the lake. Use those criteria to do that.
Ah, what do you mean?
I won the Angler of the Year title in 1986 principally using a twin willow leaf. Now this is 2 willow leaf blades on one shaft. It's an excellent bait for large fish.
Golly! Boy, he come off that little stick, didn't he? Isn't that pretty? Boy, they are all about 4 or 5 pounds. Look at that fish. Look at that. God. What'd I tell you about, you know, the only thing, see, that's not a keeper. Look at that fish. That's a 5-pound fish. So fat and healthy.
Colors of spinner baits, as you can see, they come in just about any kind of color, size, shape, variation there is. A good rule of thumb on spinner baits is some combination of white, or some combination of chartreuse. My favorite color, blue and chartreuse.
Golly, what a hit. Holy mackerel, Andy. What a hit. Pretty good fish. Look at that. Holy mackerel. Woo, what a strike. Look at the belly on that fish.
One way to make sure you get an absolutely good hook set is when you rig your worm, rather than just rigging it regular Texas style, go ahead and stick the point of the hook all the way through that worm and then back it back out to where your point is just inside of the worm. Now what you've done is you've got a hole there ready for that point of that hook to go through. Makes it a lot easier to get a dynamite hook set. Maybe that big one won't get away today.
Oh, look at that. God, that one feels good too. Oh, it is. It's another big one. Look at that. Listen to that line. Listen to that line saying. I just got 12-pound test line on here. Look at him. He ain't quite as big as the other ones. I don't know, though. He ain't far off. Oh, boy, what a pretty fish. God, look at the belly on that fish.
Get this cast in here and gonna head up the river, up in the Swift River, and fish a little pocket I found in practice. Kind of same type situation as what we've been fishing earlier this morning. So if we can't go find us a couple more fish up that way. Okay. This little area right here with this slack water could be the ticket right here, folks. Little baby. It's a baby. Come to me, you little baby.
My favorite time to use a spinnerbait is when they're in shallow water and I can fish the bait up on top. To me, it is a lure to be used relatively close to the top of the water as opposed to dragging it down deep in, say, 15, 20 foot of water. I think that there's other baits that does that better.
Oh, Lord of mercy. Did you see that? Took about 7 or 8 throws by that log. I threw and threw and threw and threw and threw and threw and threw. He finally come out and got it. 7 or 8 casts. That's another thing to remember when you have a cold front come through. That's a nice bass. I got the salad and everything.
I'll tell you what, Shorty, not many bass fishermen know that bass kill for this stuff. I'm the only one that knows that. This is a secret formula I've developed. Watch this, pal. It's easy to get into. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
Once the fish get on the bed, what do you do about the fish once they get on the bed? Personally, I think that the best way to catch them is with little things like a Gitsit, a lizard, or a minnow type bait, rebel minnow, redfin, this type thing. Remember, if you catch a female off the bed, turn her back, or you won't be able to catch any more fish out of that lake sometime in the future. Catch one off the bed, release it every single time.
Oh, there he is. Come here, baby. Come right off that bed, didn't he? Yeah, right off that bed and grabbed that thing. All right. He's pretty, isn't he? You see him jump off that bed and get the thing?
Once you get a limit, that's when you want to move to the large willow leaf blades, large Colorado blades, large Tennessee blades, and the larger heads to try to catch that bigger fish.
Golly, boy, wasn't that pretty? Nice fish. Listen to that line. Boy, he's got me. Look at where that spinnerbait is. Look at that big old copper blade. Look where that strike king bait is. Way down in there. Boy, aren't they healthy fish?
Now, there's all kinds of rules you can use as far as water temperature in fishing, but a good rule of thumb, just a good rule of thumb on topwater is anytime the water temperature is above 80 degrees, that's a good time to get in these topwater boxes.
Baby Ellen. Come on. It's good fish. Yeah, little baby. The daddy. Looks like he wanted it, kinda. It's good fish.
I hate it when that happens.
Prop type baits, like a Cordell Crazy Shad, this is a bait that's got props on both ends of it, and this is made to make a lot of noise, and I like to work these baits in a cadence.
Come here, little bass. Come out of the grass, bass. Yeah.
Crawdads come in all kinds of colors. When you first get to the lake at the boat ramp, just walk down the bank, turn over a rock or two, and find out what color the crawdads are in the lake that you're fishing. Match that color up, that'll catch you more fish. Remember when you're fishing a point that the fish are going to always face into the current. So if you have waves coming into a point, fish are going to be facing out. So you're better off coming around to the side of the point, casting into the wind, bringing your crankbait with the wind that'll be coming into the front of the fish. There's one. There's one, yeah. Oh, nice fish. Whoa, he pulled a little line out. You know, he hit it up on top of the water. What are you gonna do here? You through? He says, if you're gonna drag me around on that big old heavy line, he said, I'm gonna give up. That's a nice bass, though. That is a nice fish. So when you look at a log, look for places where two things come together. That's the place to flip your jig or your worm or work a spinnerbait through there real slow and easy. Pow! Golly! Boy, he come and got that, didn't he? Wasn't that pretty? Come off. He went over the top of the log. He come from 20 foot away to get it. He went over the top of the log and grabbed the spinnerbait.
That's great.
Wasn't that pretty? Yeah. Yeah. Looky there. Trailer hook only. I like colored blades, and when I say colored, I mean either gold or copper. A nickel blade, like this bait's got on it, works ideal, but a copper blade or a gold blade will generally produce more fish because the fish can really see that blade, and it really acts as an attractant a little bit better than, you know, than a nickel blade does. Real clear water, that's when a nickel blade is probably the most effective.
Come on, pretty baby. Boy, they're strong. Gee whiz. That's why people go bass fishing right there. Those things are plumb crazy. They're crazy as the fishermen that catch them. They pull and pull and pull and pull. And when they bite, they try to jerk the rod right out of your hand.
Obviously, you want to walk a Zara spook back and forth, like such. But the key deal is changing tempo. Sometimes you want to walk it very, very slowly. Other times just almost dancing it just as fast as you can turn it back and forth. Changing tempo will produce strikes.
There we go. That's a good fish. Keep him out of them lily pads. They find their way. He's got that one right there. Get out of there. Come on, baby. That's better fish. That's good fish. Yeah, come on. Yeah. Come on now. Go nowhere. Yes. Yes. That's what we're looking for, folks.
There it is, partner. It's my hoodler. I made this little baby myself. Yeah, I've been thinking about going into the professional bait and tackle business. Watch this little honey work. Ooh, he's getting ready to do something now. Watch him work. Ooh, look at that. Ooh, God. This is what professional bass fishing is all about, I'm telling you. It just doesn't get any better. Oh, partner, did you see that? I missed him. Oh, what a move. Ooh, baby. Ooh, come to daddy. Lip prints on him. Woo.
So if I would pick the ideal time to use a spinnerbait would be in the springtime when the fish are in the shallow water in somewhere in relationship to the spawn, either a pre-spawn situation, during the spawn, or after the spawn. That's the time that spinnerbaits are just really fantastic. Oh yeah. You see him come up there and get that thing? And then come right up there and got that dude right off the top. Come here, pretty little baby. Come in this boat. One of the key things in crankbait fishing to be successful is to try to match up the size of the crankbait with the bait that the fish are feeding on. In other words, if they're feeding on real large shad, use a large crankbait. If they're feeding on small shad, use a small one. Crawdad fishing, same situation there. Use the size bait that your fish are feeding on. That's one of your key things in fishing with a crankbait. Well, that's a pretty good little chunk. Pretty good little chunk right there. That's one of them kind that sure enough, if you're not careful, you get yourself hooked. You sure will. Oh, rattling hot spots rattling up the bass today, isn't it? Well, I tell you what, those are beautiful, beautiful fish.
know what I think we'll do? Head down to the fingers and try a grass bed I know about down there. That's better fish. That's good fish, matter of fact. Yeah, come to daddy. This is the one you're looking for right here. There you go. That don't work.
We've got a rule in all BASS tournaments that anytime the big motor is running, you have to have your life jacket on, you have to have your kill switch attached to your life jacket. Carry that rule into all of your fishing, all of your fishing. If the big motor's running, have that life jacket on, have it either zipped up or snapped. If you fall overboard, we can fish you out and we can still weigh you fish. You might want to try to use the professional's orange worm trick. Now that's an ugly fishing worm, isn't it? But here's the deal on it. What you do is we're going to fish this thing right up on top of the water. So what we'll do is we'll just go ahead and rig this thing pretty much just Texas style. Rig her Texas style here. Now you'll notice we do not have a slip sinker on it. Just a regular orange worm. What we're going to do is throw that out there and just dance it back and forth just like a Zara spook on top of the water. Sometimes it'll get them when nothing else will. God, look at him go. Boy, every one of them up 4 and 5 pound fish. Gee whiz. Looky there, an old true turn got him down in the bottom. Got away. You believe that? When you look at a stump in the water, remember the root system is the most important thing on that stump. And generally a fish will be back in those roots. So when you work that stump, work it a little bit slower than you might some other piece of structure. Come out of here, buddy. Yeah. Come out of that tree. Easy, 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 easy. Hold him, Trilene. I got 15-pound big game on here, which is good line. Yeah. Now that's a good fish. Well, look at him waller around there. I'm gonna tell you what. Oh, pretty fish. To me, stained water is fishing water. That's just exactly what I like because you can get close to the fish, they're going to be in on the cover, and you can catch them easy. Baby. Oh, he come out of there and knocked the snot out of that spinnerbait. He's pretty, isn't he? Now, that's a healthy fish right there. Look how broad he is. That's one of them that's going to grow up to be a daddy right there. A big daddy. Ow! Tried to bite my thumb off. He don't want to get caught. But if you don't open your mouth, see how wide he is this way? That's what I like. Oh, here now. Some of the things to think about in worm fishing is that probably you're going to have better success worm fishing when the water is a little bit warmer. If you want to pick a water temperature to say that your worm fishing is going to start to really improve, try about 65 degrees. That's when worm fishing is going to really pick up. I caught a lot of bass on worms with water temperature over 100 degrees.
I don't know how big he is. He's sure oh, look at the size of that fish. Did you see that? Boy, that is a mule, isn't it? Where is he? There he is. Golly, holy cow. Look at that. God, what a fish. Gee whiz, what a fish. Look at that hog. Look at that. Golly. Come here, baby. Oh, gosh, he's heavy. Holy smoke. How big is that thing?
Yeah, that's what you get for not watching your line close enough. Just lost that lure for you.
Remember, if you're looking for vibration, a single spin will always give you more vibration than a tandem. So if you're looking for flash, 2 blades. Vibration, just 1.
Golly, did you see that? Holy smoke. Gee whiz, look at that sucker go, will you? Right by the boat. That's exactly how much line I had out, right there. That's a 5.5 foot rod. I had out 5 foot 10 inches of line when he hit that thing.
Ooh-wee. On a hot day like today, you've got to have plenty of protection. Plenty. Oh, son. Not again. Oh, I hate it when that happens.
My favorite color topwater is a silver shad Zara spook, but as you can tell, you can't go too far wrong with some combination of chrome or silver.
They're small fish. This is good fish here. You got a mouthful of Zara spook. Come on, baby. Gotta watch sticking your hand down here. Get a fistful. That don't work. Go back here and put him in the live well.
Once you get into a pre-spawn situation, this is when your fish have moved into the area they're going to spawn in, but they have not moved up on the bank. So they're generally out in, no matter where you are, anywhere in the country, 4 to 7 foot of water. Remember that, 4 to 7 foot of water, pre-spawn fish.
Sunshine. Oh, there he is. Oh, yeah, pretty boy. Little sunshine bass. Come out when the sun shine. Oh, pretty boy. Come here, baby. Don't you get off. Don't you get off.
If you're going to pick an overall size for plastic worms, probably 6 inches is better than any other size. Many times you're going to move down to little 3 and 4 inch worms. Sometimes you're going to need to move up to 10 and 12 inch worms.
I mean, he creamed that thing. Look at that sucker go, will you? He's going wild. Boy, he hit that worm hard. I mean, he hit that worm hard. Come in here, baby. Boy, isn't he pretty?
Stain water is probably the best spinnerbait water you can get into. Move to bigger blades. Bright chartreuse is probably your best color.
Come here, little rascal.
Now. You get up here. We will play the game with you.
You be 11, and you be, don't you jump, 14 ounces.
And you be? You realize that most of the time in jig fishing, your strike is going to occur as that bait falls, so let the bait fall a lot. The other thing that you're going to do to create more bites is to let it fall on a loose line. Anything funny happens or feels funny, set the hook.
Had another one chasing it. Come on, baby. Come here, you little honor devil. Yeah. Well, I flipped in there 2 or 3 times and just couldn't seem to raise one out of that brush pile, so I'm gonna head on up the river here up to Boggy Creek, see if we can't find something up that way.
When you're fishing a minnow-type topwater, the first 3 or 4 foot of your cast out on the end is the most important. And this is when you're really going to dance that bait and work it. And then you're going to wind it back in. Sometimes you'll catch a fish as that bait comes back in 2 or 3 foot under the surface. When you get it back within 2 or 3 foot of the boat, always stop. Let that bait drift back up to the top. If there's a bass that's followed that bait, when it starts drifting back up, you'll catch him every time.
Oh yeah, mama. Yeah. Yeah, that's better fish. There had to be one over there on them logs. Open wide, baby. There we go. There's one we needed right there.
Whoa, tell you what, Shorty, this brings up a good safety tip. Tell you what I'll do. I'll show you how to remove a hook from your clothing without getting a hook stuck in your skin. Is you just take your thumb and you press the hook actually against your skin like this. Ooh, I hate it when this happens. Oh. That's the thing about these treble hooks, you know. I'm telling you, there's 3 of them in there, Shorty. Oh, whoa. Oops, there we go. We got, see there, we got two of them. There we go. Really easy. Just like that. Hey. First aid kit.
To me, vibration is the most important thing in a spinnerbait, so I like a spinnerbait that really hammers, one that you can feel throb on the end of your rod. Real clear water situations, you might be looking for a lot of flash, or particularly when fish are feeding on shad.
Golly. Oh, it's just a little in here. All right, 3 pounds, 2 pounds.
A few more like this and you're going to be hard to beat. This little tip could definitely win the tournament. What I've done is taken a little bitty piece of dry rind and attached behind a Cordell crankbait. That actually puts a tail on that bait and gives dynamite action.
Oh, I did get bit. That's a pretty nice one there. Sure did.
Called that shot, didn't I? That's a nice fish.
Come here, sugar. Only thing, we need a dip net with these crankbaits. Ah!
You know, even though it's cloudy today, still make sure you wear your Polaroid glasses, because when it's cloudy, you get reflection of the clouds on the water, and it's difficult to see little stumps and twigs, and sometimes just seeing a dark spot in the water can mean the difference in winning this thing and losing it.
Look at that sucker go, will you? Look at that fish go. Holy cow. My goodness, look at that sucker go. Golly.
Here's a knot that I use on jigs that give them a lot more action. I use it on this type jig, I use it on a Roadrunner, I use it on something like a redfin or any type crankbait that doesn't have a split ring. It's called a loop knot. And a loop knot is very simple to tie. You run the line through the eye of the bait one time, not double, just one time. Get you a pretty good little chunk of line, and just then wrap it around 3 fingers of your left hand to form a loop. Now what you're doing is tying almost an overhand granny knot. Take the bait, run it through that loop once, twice. Now I know all of you can count that high. And then just ease this thing down, grab a hold of it right here, pull the tag and the main line, come down here, and what you've done is you've created a little loop. Trilene's making the line tougher than my teeth. And now you've got this little small loop that gives your bait a lot more freedom. It really works good on jigs, Roadrunners, topwater baits, anything that you need a lot of action. More action, more bass.
Come here, fish.
Remember, points are natural ambush places for bass to lay. And a point is not just a great big giant thing out on the lake. As you work down a bank, pay special attention to little bitty indentations, little bitty things sticking out. Those are the points that'll generally produce that one big lunker fish. Oh yeah, good fish. Oh, good fish. Good fish, yeah. I figured there'd be a big one up here in this ditch somewhere. Now, you know, we fished right by there, throw the spinnerbait around there, throw the worm by there on the way up this ditch, and come back by the second time, and there's a big old fish in there. He just didn't bite the first time we come by. It's just all there is to it. It's amazing how many times you probably throw by a fish and never know it. All right. We might lose this thing if we let any of our fish die. Two things I do when I catch the very first fish. I put my live well on manual aeration. In other words, I just turn the aerator on and leave it on. Never turn it off all day long. Secondly, I put some bass saver, which is a chemical, in the live well. Just a few squirts in there, helps keep that fish alive. And it also doctors the fish so when we turn him back, let's don't let our fish die.
There he is. Oh, man. Broke that one off.
Every cast counts, no matter how few fish you've caught in practice, no matter how many breakdowns you've had, no matter how many stories you hear about the other people catching lots of fish. When you're having a hard time, maintain a positive mental attitude. A small quarter-ounce Houston model spinnerbait will probably do more for you as far as just, getting a lot of fish in the boat. And I've caught a lot of 6 and 7, 8 pound fish on those little baits. But a small bait with a small blade, that's when you want to just use it to really try to catch the numbers of fish and to get your limit, which in tournament situations, that's the important thing. Catch that limit every single time. There he is. Yeah. Right on the bank. Right on the bank. Yeah, it's a little male fish. Boy, he's healthy. Nice fish. Pretty fish, yeah. Come here, little baby doll. Come here. Come here, sugar. Yeah, pretty fish.
Well, let's make a move. I got a place in the back end of Wild Horse Cove. We need to go check it out.
If you've got an area that's got lots of stumps and logs in it, say you've got 50 stumps and 2,000 logs, fish the 50 stumps. They're both good cover, but the fish will be on whatever there is the least of in that particular place. A lot of stumps, not many logs, fish the logs. A lot of logs, not many stumps, concentrate on the stumps.
Golly, did you see that? I pitched that thing out there about 6 foot. Right by that big stump. I mean, I punched it out there about 6 foot. I didn't throw it far enough for nothing. Gee whiz.
When I fish a spinnerbait by a stump, I like to make my spinnerbait actually bump that stump and just let it tick it and make just a little bit different action. That little difference a lot of time produces a big strike.
He's got me. Holy cow. Look at that thing go, will you? Come out of there, you big monster. Gee whiz. He didn't want a white spinnerbait. He said that blue and chartreuse is fine with him. Boy, what a big, pretty fish that thing is.
Bright, sunshiny days might necessitate you having to fish deeper. And remember, if you're going to fish deeper, you're going to have to fish slower, and it's better to use lighter line because lighter line will get your bait down deeper quicker. And that's important, particularly in tournament situations.
Oh, yeah. There was that better one I was talking about. He was in there.
When I come across that limb, I just sort of slowed that spinnerbait down and didn't even hardly drop it out of sight, just slowed it down. Look how deep he's got it. I mean, he's got it down in there. Oh, yeah. He gonna jump one more time? Looky where that thing is. It is down in there.
Lost lure for you, but you could still win this thing.
If you're having one of those days when you can't seem to get a bite, no matter what you're doing, start point jumping. Just like the frogs going from bank to banky, the fisherman having trouble goes from point to pointy. Is that a word, pointy? Fish those points. Oh, there he is. Golly, he feels big too. Oh, he is. God, that's another nice one. Look at that. Holy cow. I think we got us a honey hole. Oh, looky there. Golly, what a fish. It drops off out here in about 10 or 12 foot of water. And we got us some fish found on that point now, I guarantee you that. Oh man, look at that. One of the most overlooked ways to fish in heavy grass is with a regular plastic worm and an oversized slip sinker. I'm talking about a slip sinker that may weigh a ½ an ounce or 3/4 ounce. And what you're doing is actually penetrating down through the grass, down below that grass where those fish are laying, and catching them. Work very easily. Flipping is your best technique. The big slip sinker, regular plastic worm, Texas rig, that's where they are. Looky there, hooked him in the bottom of the lip. They just not taking it good with this cold front in here like this. Come here, sugar. Oh, yeah. You gotta remember that flipping is a loose line technique. Whatever you do when you crankbait fishing, don't make a steady retrieve. Use a stop and go technique. Remember that, stop and go. Crank it, stop, crank it, stop, crank it, stop. That definitely is the correct way to fish a crankbait. There he is. Oh, I thought you was trying to catch a bigger one than that. One of the very best places to throw your bait is around a log. And logs can be dynamite places to catch fish because fish like to lay under the log. But do not fish the entire log. Fish in a log where two things come together or form what I call a junction area. Maybe where a limb comes out from a log, where two logs run together. An ideal junction area is where the end of the log meets the rest of the lake. A great place to present your bait. Work those areas slowly, carefully. Forget about the rest of the log. You're going to catch a fish off of every good log. Oh, there he is. Oh, God. Look how fast that fish is. Look at that. What crazy thing. Come right out from under that log. Hey, is that one eye? Let me see here. No, he got both eyes, hasn't he? No, he just got one eye. See, that's the side I caught him on, too. Don't let stained water scare you. It can really be your advantage because one of the things you can do in stained water is you can move in closer to your fish, you can make a lot more casts during the day, and those extra casts might catch you enough to win this thing. You little rascal about scared me to death. Oh, poor Keto. Jumped up there and got all over that redfin. Oh, yeah. I like to enhance a topwater lure like a popper with what they call a flash tail. This is little mylar flashes, and this is what it looks like once you put it on your bait. Really is a good fish attractant.
There he is. Fish just came up and slapped at it and got hooked up. Come on. Come to Dad. He's gonna be a close one, but
I hate it when that happens.
Remember when you're trying to figure out how big your crankbait is that you're fishing, that if it's got a clear bill on it like this, the bill does not count in the size of the bait because the fish can't see it. So as far as the fish is concerned, that lure is this size right here. Now if you get into the lures that have a painted or a metallized bill, in other words, this bill right here is covered in chrome, so this is part of the bait. The fish can see it also. This lure is this large. So even though these baits right here, as you look at them, are basically the same size, this one is really twice as big as this one, as far as the fish can see.
There he is. Got it on the stop. If I get in an area where I could crank that thing and stop it, just get that thing to stop. Come here, baby. Here now, here now, here now, here now. If I can crank it and stop, crank it and stop, crank it and stop it.
One of the things I like to do in clear water situations is move down to these little tiny 3 and 4 inch worms on 1/16 ounce slip sinkers. Not 1/8 ounce, but 1/16 ounce. Sometimes even a little jig head works good if you don't have much cover around.
They hit it before it ever gets to the bottom. Surely they're going to grow before the day's over.
What is that smell? Oh. What is that? Oh, God. I thought that's what that was. Oh, no, I did it again. Oh, I hate it when this happens. My favorite kind too. She's gonna be mad at me today. God.
Post-spawn, what happens after they spawn? This is the hardest time in the world to catch the fish. Different lakes produce different type situations. Some of the things you can think about is after the fish spawn, if the lake has standing timber in it, those fish like to rush out into that standing timber and get in all 5, 10, 12 foot of water, maybe over a lot of deep water. So they're suspended in the tops of those trees.
Boy, he come off the backside of that piece of brush. Isolated cover. Isolated cover. Come here, sugar. Come here, sugar bugger. Boy, he wanted that thing.
Another bait to think about when it starts raining, if it's not raining real hard, just starts drizzling on you, buzz baits every time.
Golly, look at there. Pretty good fish. Come here, baby. Got me one of them salad deals. Come here, Shug. Wasn't as big as I thought he was.
Basically, when you talk about docks, you're talking about floating docks that are floating on styrofoam and pier docks that are on pier that are stationed into the water. On those floating docks, probably the best bait, summertime, good old Zara spook or a spinner bait, run right down along the edge.
Might be able to pick one off the steel here, though. There he is. Dock fish. Came right off the corner of that dock. That's where he's supposed to be. Oh, come here, baby.
On cloudy days, I always use either a gold or a copper blade. Single spins seem to work best.
Fish, if I can get him out of there. Look at that. Golly, look at that. Well, I'll tell you what, he's right on that old fence line. Oh, man, isn't he pretty? Isn't that a pretty fish? Oh, he's wilder to March here, too. Come here, baby. Ah, I got him. All right.
Tell you what, let's make a quick run down the dam, see what we can find down there. Got a couple spots to check out.
I hate it when that happens. Oh, Eula's gonna kill me now. I sure hope there's somebody else out on this lake with me. Hope I have another peanut butter sandwich. I stepped on them all today.
I hate it when this happens.